64 Tacos Podcasts presents Is This Song Good? This is episode 65. Smashing Pumpkins, Tonight, live.
Welcome back to another Is This Song Good podcast. We're continuing our series of live versions of songs. And this week we have a pick of mine. It's the Smashing Pumpkins with their song Tonight. This live version was recorded in New York in 1996. And I only know that because it was part of the track title. But this was included on the Aeroplane Flies High Deluxe Edition, one of the discs or one of the groupings. They added some live recordings on there, and when I was going through it, this one really stuck out to me. I've always loved the song Tonight. Of course, it's a staple. It's a really great song by the Smashing Pumpkins, From Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. So the first thing that struck me about it is I think it was in around 2000, maybe, right before they broke up the first time or whatever. They did a VH1 Storytellers. And I watched it and I listened to it and I even downloaded a bootleg of it because it was just so interesting, like the alternate versions of the tracks. This is not from that, but this has the same type of feel as that. Like it. So the noticeable thing is it's missing the string section. So the thing that basically like ties the album version together is just gone. But then it adds in piano and some other stuff. But I just really like the acoustic guitar mixing with the tone of the drums. I think it's a little bit slower, but it just feels slightly more emotional to me. And then of course there's the slide guitar soloing, which it's both. I both love it and I hate it because it reminds me of like country music. And
the slide guitar is a dangerous instrument because it can be used really, really well. Yeah. But man, it can fall off and go into some really bad country vibes. Yeah, very quickly.
And I think James Iha did a pretty good job here. Like there are a couple times where I think he's kind of like messing it up or just not quite sliding all the way or whatever, but for the most part, I think he did well with it.
I agree. I did really enjoy the slide guitar on this. Absolutely.
So what did you guys think?
Dan, why don't you go?
Okay. So this is a third different thing you can do with a song. On it's Good to Be King, the live version, they just stretched it out. The Radiohead Nude, they just simplified it but played it straight, basically like the record without the bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. And this was sort of a rethought. Like, the big thing, other than the very present strings in the studio version, I noticed was there were essentially no snare rolls, which is a key part of the sound, the Jimmy Chamberlain sound on the original.
Was Jimmy Chamberlain even on this song? Was he gone by then?
No. I just looked this up.
Okay.
So this was in January of '96. It was July when Jonathan Melvoin, the keyboard player, OD'd, and that was when they jettisoned Jimmy Chamberlain.
Because that was my first. I put this on and I thought, what's wrong? Obviously there's the slide guitar, which is not in the album track, and obviously the strings are all gone, which is not which is very different from the album track. But I thought that's not what's missing. There's something fundamental to this song that's missing, and it was the drumming. Yeah. I love the album drumming, just the beating on the snare drum the whole way through, and just this awesome, just energetic, fun, let's go, just so good. But yeah, sorry I interrupted you. I'm not sorry.
That's fine.
That was a lie. I'm not sorry, but I did interrupt you. So I'll let you continue.
Yes. Both of those things are true. You're not sorry, but you did interrupt. Yeah. So, they slowed the song down and made it a little simpler. And I don't think it would have suited to have the drum rolls, the snare rolls and stuff. It does sound like Jimmy Chamberlain's playing to me. And the timeline makes sense.
It definitely sounds like a good drummer is playing, but it's just so very different.
Well, Dave, you're not a drummer, so you wouldn't understand.
No, that's true.
As Neil might put it.
But as Neil has put it.
But yeah, so it's more of like this is sort of like, you can imagine this being the acoustic version. Just hand them some brushes or stick bundles instead of the drumsticks, and then that's essentially what this is. And it's great, and it's great because it's different. Sometimes it's great when they pull off the sort of playing it excellently in the exact same style, and they get all the sounds and everything. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's great, and then sometimes it's nice when they just play it in a different way, and it lets you appreciate the song, different things about the song.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a lot less sort of inspiring and inspirational than the album version.
Yeah.
But it's got this sort of loose relaxation to it. And also, from my experience of seeing the Pumpkins live a couple times on this tour, the Melancholy tour,
mm-hmm.
and it may have been just a matter of it being the tour being too long, but Billy Corgan's voice live is sometimes just not there. He can't do all the Billy Corgan things, like the sort of, sharpening the voice up and being really whispery. He just sort of barks his way through it. This was a really good Billy Corgan vocal performance, I thought. Sometimes he sounds great live, and sometimes you're like, oh, that's not great. But,
right.
Hey, you wear your voice out when on these long tours, and, so be it, It's not a shot at Billy, but this was, I thought, a very good vocal performance of this song. And the sort of slower, more relaxed version gave it a different kind of sincerity. It didn't seem sort of like starry-eyed and hopeful. It seemed a little more like melancholy and infinitely sad. No, a little more sort of wistful. And it was nice to have obviously the same song in the same structure, but like just a different take on it. I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, I really did not like it at first, the first few listens through, because it took me a couple of listens to figure out the drum thing. But once I figured that out and came to terms with it, I agree. It's a really neat version. And I got to like the slide guitar a lot. I assume they just had Billy record Darcy's part and she just wasn't plugged in.
It's not the studio. She was allowed to play bass live.
She was allowed to play live. All right. I wasn't sure if she was allowed to or not.
Billy's such a dick sometimes.
Such a dick. But yeah, no, the vocals were good. The slide guitar was really neat, and the drumming was odd, but yeah.
Well, it's odd only in that it was just straightforward.
Yeah, right.
And it was it's odd in that it was different. Yeah, it was a more traditional thing, but yeah, no, I also quite enjoyed it.
So I'm assuming you've seen the Pumpkins live.
Yes, I have. Not in any of the eras that were important, though. I saw them after they released Zeitgeist.
We went to see them in an outdoor live show where it rained, and then Billy came out and yelled at us because, well, to be fair, some people were being assholes in the crowd because they took a break because it was raining really hard. Yeah. And then people were being like, oh, they were like chanting and booing a little bit. Not most people, but and then he came out and yelled at everybody.
Yes, that was Fall Ball, and there were a lot of other bands there. Yeah, crappy bands mostly. Like really.
Cypress Hill was there, and Paramore, and there were other bands too, and I don't remember any of them.
Yeah. And then I did also see them once at the Rialto, like a year after that, which is a little bit more better. It was a little bit less about that sort of festival type of thing where everybody's getting drunk and falling on each other. And
it's that album Zeitgeist was not the best album to tour behind because the songs were all kind of samey and abrasive and in your face.
Yes, but let's not digress into the ride or die episode that people can go listen to, because
yes,
we've already spent an hour talking about about all that.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll just wrap it up and say that I thought this was just a kind of a cool testament to the Smashing Pumpkins and their style. Like they, they'll oftentimes do things differently at their concerts, and I think this was one of those where I don't know if it was a fully acoustic concert or whatever, if they just brought all this out for this one song, but they just kind of do their own thing and enjoy it, and fans like it, cool. If not, then they're really.
It makes sense to have them shake it up for their own purposes. Like you can only play the same version of the same song so many times. So I can totally understand why they're like, let's try a different version of this. I should say, I am more forgiving of slide guitar and countryish leanings with slide guitar than you guys seem to have been. But I did not love the slide guitar in this one.
No, I thought it was really neat.
It was okay, but like. And maybe it was the best version of James Iha's slide guitar, but I don't typically like James Iha's slide guitar. I don't think he does things that slide guitar does really well. He just kind of like plays little licks, and I don't know. This doesn't quite work for me. But it wasn't bad. It didn't take away from the song, but I didn't consider it very much of a positive. Personally. Yeah.
When he's doing like Ebo stuff or just straight up soloing, he's fine. But you could kind of tell like it was not super comfortable sliding that slide around. So
it's a bit noodly.
And I think that's why you don't hear it very often on really any of their recordings or live stuff. So all right, what do we have next week, Dave?
Next week we have an REM song called Time After Time, Etc., which is a medley of Time After Time, Red Rain by Peter Gabriel, and South Central Rain.
Oh, so it's a cover of Cyndi Lauper?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Everybody loves that.
Oh, yeah. All right. See ya.
See ya.
I caught it on audio.